2 months, 60 days, 1,440 hours have passed since you stood at the beginning of this year and made yourself a promise. And I want you to sit with that number for a second. 1,400 hours. Do you know what a person can build in 1,400 hours? Do you know what a person can learn, create, transform, dismantle, and rebuild in 1,400 hours if they are intentional about every single one of them? Everything. Absolutely everything. And yet here we are, the first day of March, the third month already arriving like an uninvited reminder. And for most people, not all people, but most, those 1,400 hours went somewhere they cannot fully account for. Somewhere between intention and execution, somewhere between the version of themselves they promised to become in January and the version still standing here today, mostly unchanged, carrying the same dreams they were carrying 60 days ago. That is not a judgment. That is just the truth. And the truth, even when it is uncomfortable, is the only thing that can actually set you free. So let me ask you something that I need you to answer honestly. Not out loud, not for anyone else, in the place inside yourself where you cannot lie. If January was a chapter, what did it say? If February was a chapter, what did it say? Were they chapters of movement, of building, of showing up for the things that matter most to you? Or were they chapters of delay, of maintenance, of getting through the days rather than getting something out of them? Because here is what I know about the human mind. We are extraordinary at making the past feel inevitable. Whatever happened, we are gifted at building a narrative that makes it seem like it could not have gone any other way. The delay was necessary, the pause was needed, the slow start was just the warm-up. And maybe some of that is true. Maybe you needed those 60 days to get clear, to get ready, to shed something that needed shedding before you could move properly. But maybe, and I need you to be honest here, maybe you just waited. Maybe the months passed and you watched them go and told yourself a story about why now was not quite the right time yet. If that is true, today is the most important day you have had all year. Because today is the first day of March. And March does not care about your January promises. March does not care what you said you were going to do. March does not care about the vision board or the journal entry or the conversation you had with yourself at midnight on December 31st when the year felt new and anything seemed possible. March only responds to one thing: what you actually do. Starting now. I want to talk about something that nobody talks about when they talk about new months and fresh starts and new beginnings. The lie of the clean slate. Every month, every year, every Monday, we are sold this idea of the clean slate, the fresh start, the chance to begin again as if the past did not happen. And there is something beautiful in that impulse, the desire to reset, the hope that a new time marker on the calendar means a new chapter in your actual life. But here's what is also true. You cannot outrun yourself by changing the date. The slate is never completely clean, because you bring yourself to every new beginning. Your habits come with you, your patterns come with you, your unresolved fears, your untreated wounds, your unexamined beliefs about what you deserve and what you are capable of. All of it packs itself quietly into the new month and arrives with you on day one. And this is not a reason for despair. This is a reason for radical honesty. Because the people who actually transform, not the people who have good January 1st energy, but the people who look back at the end of a year and genuinely cannot recognize the life they were living 12 months ago, those people did something different. They did not just set new goals. They identified the specific, personal, honest reason the old ones didn't work. They sat down with themselves and asked the uncomfortable question. Not what do I want to achieve this month, but what is the actual thing inside me that has been stopping me? What is the real reason, not the surface reason, not the excuse that sounds reasonable, the real reason that I keep arriving at new beginnings, still carrying the same unfinished business? What is the pattern? What is the belief underneath the pattern? What is the wound underneath the belief? Because until you answer those questions, no new month will ever be truly new. It will just be the old month with a different name on it. March can be different, but only if you are willing to be different inside of it. Let me tell you about two people. They both started January with the same dream, same goal, same hunger, same moment of genuine burning desire for their life to change. The first person waited for motivation. They waited to feel ready, feel inspired, feel like the timing was right. They planned extensively, they researched thoroughly, they talked about what they were going to do with the passion and conviction of someone who has already done it. And when motivation came, they moved beautifully, powerfully, with everything they had. And when motivation left, as it always does, they stopped, and they waited for it to come back. And February passed that way, in the waiting, in the spaces between bursts of inspiration, in the accumulation of almost started things and half-finished attempts, and the growing, quiet, uncomfortable awareness that something was not working, but not yet the willingness to look directly at what that something was. The second person did not wait for motivation. They did not feel particularly inspired on January 1st. They were not filled with certainty or confidence or the electric sense of possibility that makes starting feel effortless. They were scared. They were doubtful. They were deeply aware of all the previous times they had tried and fallen short. And they started anyway. They did not start perfectly. They did not start with the full plan or the complete picture or the guarantee of the outcome. They started with what they had, with the first small, imperfect, unglamorous step that was available to them on that specific day. And then the next day, they took another one, and the next day, another. And 60 days later, right now, today, the 1st of March, that person looks different, not just in what they have built externally, in who they have become internally, in the quiet confidence that can only come from the experience of doing what you said you would do over and over when no one was watching and nothing was guaranteed. That confidence cannot be bought. It cannot be found in a speech or a book or a strategy session. It is built, one kept promise to yourself at a time. Which person have you been? And more importantly, which person are you choosing to be from today? I want to speak directly to the person who is tired. And I don't mean physically tired, though you may be that too. I mean the person who is tired of starting over. The person for whom this is not the first new month they have tried to use as a launch pad. For whom January was not the first January. Who has stood at the beginning of months and years and Mondays with genuine intention and real hope, and watched that hope slowly deflate as the days passed and the gap between who they were and who they wanted to be refused to close. For that person, today is complicated. Because the hope is still there, it always is, that's the remarkable thing about human beings, the hope is extraordinarily resilient. But alongside the hope this time is something else, a guardedness, a protective skepticism, a part of you that wants to believe today is different, but has been disappointed enough times to be careful about how much it invests in that belief. I hear that, and I'm not going to tell you to simply override it with positivity. What I am going to tell you is this. The fact that you are tired of starting over doesn't mean you have to start over again. Starting over implies going back to zero, implies that the previous attempts were wasted, that the effort was lost, that the falls put you back at the beginning. They did not. Every attempt taught you something. Every fall built something in you as it knocked you down. Every month you tried and came up short, you learned exactly what did not work, what you overestimated, what you underestimated, what you need more of, and what you need to let go of entirely. That is not failure. That is research. You are not starting over. You are starting wiser, starting more honestly, starting with 60 days of information that the January version of you did not have. Use that. Bring what you learned from the months that didn't go the way you planned into this one. Let February's lessons fund March's effort. Let the clarity that only comes from trying and falling and honestly examining the fall, let that be your advantage. You are not behind. You are prepared. Now move. I want to talk about what this month could actually be. Not in the abstract, specifically. 31 days, 744 hours, 44,640 minutes. That's what March is made of. That's the raw material sitting in front of you right now. And the person you are going to be on April 1st is being constructed right now in real time by what you decide to do with those minutes. Not all of them. You're human, life is happening, and rest is real, and not every minute can be optimized. That's not what I'm asking for. But some of them. The specific ones that you know, if you're honest with yourself, you have been wasting. The hour in the morning before the world gets loud that you hand to your phone before you have done a single thing for yourself. The evening time that dissolves into content consumption while the thing you were supposed to be building sits untouched. The weekend hours that pass in a comfortable haze while the version of you that you keep promising to become waits patiently on the other side of the effort you are not yet willing to make. Those hours. What if this month you treated them differently? What if this month you decided that the most important appointment on your calendar is the one you make with your own potential? That the non-negotiable commitment is not to your comfort, but to your growth? That this month, March, these 31 days, what if you decided that they were not going to pass through your hands like water? What if you held them? What if you used them? Every single day just 1% better than the day before. That's all. Not perfection, not a complete transformation, not an overnight reinvention. Just 1%. And at the end of March, you wouldn't even recognize the compound effect of 31 days of 1%. Small, consistent movement in the right direction always defeats large, inconsistent bursts of energy. Always. This month, be small, consistent, and relentless.